one of your better games on Saturday. Did you feel that way?
Yeah, for sure. And I did, and it wasn't just me though. Collectively we played really well as an O-line. That's what showed. I mean, obviously our rushing numbers were good, and it was against a really good defense, and that was a huge boost of confidence for the O-line. And the whole entire team in general. As an O-line, we pride ourselves on trying to be the heartbeat of the team, and we feel like we're doing that. So.
Does that opponent bring a little bit more out of you because you seem like you're playing to the whistle, and or is it the same? It's supposed to be the same way every week, right?
Yeah, I mean it's the same way every week, but it was just the guy I was going against. We had a little kind of battle going on the whole entire game, so it was fun.
A little talking.
Yeah, a little bit. I always do that, but this guy.
Chirping.
Yeah, chirping.
Gotcha.
Chirping's a good way to describe it.
Did you guys go see Grant over the weekend?
Yeah. We saw him. We saw him. We saw him the day after. We went to go see him the day after, but he wasn't really. They had him on so much stuff. He wasn't really responsive. But we went and saw him. No, last night, the night before that. But yeah, we all went and saw him, and he loved it. He loved seeing us. Coach Harbaugh was there. Drev was there. That just sucks, Yeah, but we saw him. He loved it.
How'd you think Juwan did?
I think he did good. That kind of stuff you can never predict it, and obviously it's the worst case scenario. You don't want it to happen, but Juwan stepped up and he played well, and he had his moments where he was aggressive. He also had his learning moments, and Juwan's into I think his third or fourth year now, I forget, but coming in and stepping up, he did a good job.
Did you guys have to talk to him at all to reassure him, or did he just step right in?
Yeah, I mean, not really. It happens pretty fast when they call upon you. So really, all you get a chance to say is, this is your time. So you're practicing for it, and let's get it cranking. Let's crank it up. And he played well. He did good. He responded.
Kyle, Coach Harbaugh said that that it's a reminder. When Grant has such a serious injury, that football can be serious. I mean, as a player though, you've got to keep those thoughts out of your head. How hard is that this week to try to separate it a little bit?
Yeah, I mean that's definitely a thing. You definitely try not to think about that as much as possible, and because when you do start thinking about that kind of stuff, that's what kind of slows you down, makes you second guess yourself, and being a player at this level, you can't do that. And but yeah, after especially going to see him and seeing what was going on with his leg and seeing everything that he was hooked up to, I mean it's hard. It was me, Mason, Mags, and Wilton all drove over there, and we left the room. It was like that could be any of us, and that's just a bad feeling. I'm really sad it happened to him, and I do not wish it upon my worst enemy. That's not good.
Do you second guess yourself ever?
No, never.
But what happened to him was out of his control because it was just it was something he couldn't even see coming.
Yeah, and it was something he couldn't control, and it was also kind of a cheap shot. When a defensive guy is supposed to chop. Common courtesy is go at your ankles, so if they swipe out your ankles, you go up. But no, this guy he dove at his knees, and so it was it wasn't a good thing that the kid did. It wasn't an illegal move, but it's one of those things where just like, come on, dude, you don't do that kind of stuff.
How often does it happen in football?
It happens fairly often. It's part of the game, but it's very rare that an injury like that happens.
Yeah.
That serious. So when it does. Kind of hurts you.
And how do you protect yourself is there a way as a lineman when a guy's going like that? I mean, there's nothing
Not
you can
really,
do, right?
Yeah, I mean, not really. It's just kind of it's luck, and Grant didn't do anything wrong. He was playing a hell of a game until that point, and it just happened. And he didn't deserve it. It just happened and sucked.
After seeing him like that, are you surprised that he walked off the field?
Yeah, he's a tough son of a bitch. We went to go see him at the hospital, and he was telling us about what all was wrong with him and stuff, and told him what kind of drugs they put him on, because the amount of pain that kid was in was unreal, and the fact that it wasn't smart, he probably walked off. Probably wasn't the smartest thing, but the fact that he did, I mean, you gotta respect that kid. He's a tough kid, tough kid.
Is he talking about coming back someday and playing again? I know this.
Yeah.
They talked about it maybe being a career-threatening injury.
Yeah, and that's what's so crazy about it is, even when he's in this tremendous amount of pain, unreal amount of pain, he's asking about, he asked Coach Trev about his kid and how he's playing. He asked about us, how we played the game. It's very unselfish. But again, yes, he eventually, I think, wants to get back to playing football. And, that's a while off. But yeah, I think he does.
What was his demeanor? Was he like like, I don't know, sort of verbally? Was he just like, hey, no, I don't want the cart or whatever because they brought it out in the field? How did you guys all went out there, so.
Yeah, I mean, I think in that kind of situation, when you're in front of 110,000 people, it's one of those things where you have a lot of adrenaline going through you.
Right.
So you don't really feel that much pain until you get out of that environment. So I'm sure he was feeling it after it happened, and I'm sure he wasn't thanking himself for it. But in that kind of situation, I remember a couple times, a couple years ago, I sprained my ankle pretty bad, but like I ran off the field like an idiot. But like I just did it because everyone's watching. I wanted to be the guy to run off the field. So yeah, I think he was kind of regretting that, but he did it.
I might be making this up, but it seemed like you guys played it with a little more nasty on that drive after he left. Was there any conversation about?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely want to win the game for him.
Yeah.
Anytime that kind of thing happens, you want to make it right, and we did. We did.
Was there frustration on the offense when you guys are going on the field, putting yourself in scoring position, and the ball's just not going through the uprights? I mean, what was sort of was there a calming voice on the offense, on the line or anything?
Yeah, I mean, Jarev really just kept on preaching to us. We were doing our job, and that's all you can ask for. We were driving the ball and running it down their throats, and the kicks just sometimes they weren't going in, and that's football. I mean, you can't be perfect. We're not perfect. No one's perfect, so you can't put a blame on anybody. You can't be that upset about it. Obviously you'd like to have those points, but hey, it happens.
Did the offensive line rhythm change when Grant goes out and Juwan comes in?
Not really, I mean, the game plan doesn't really change based on personnel-wise. But I think a couple of drives, it might have slowed down a little bit for Juwan just for a second, but he bounced back right away. Whenever something would go wrong, and that's a learning curve. And then, he's going to get better every single game on from here on out.
Is that fullback dive play almost impossible to stop you guys from getting a yard at this point?
It seems like it.
Yeah.
It seems like it. Definitely seems like it.
Yeah, the push that you guys are getting at the goal line.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about Devin Asiasi seems like a kid too that's really been coming to his own down there.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely been a good go-to play for us,
Yeah.
and that's definitely on the guys up front and the fullbacks, pounds it in there, and we're doing a hell of a job. And take it plain, it's working. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
What were the things that crossed you guys up in some pass protection stuff was there?
They are very talented guys, and they had one of those spinner looks where it kind of broke down our protection a little bit, broke our rules, and that's what they got us on. It wasn't anything too major. It wasn't like anything. It wasn't like the wheels were spinning out of control. It just one of those things where it just got us. And then a couple things on the edge. With the I think one time it was a fullback and tight end or something, but it's nothing we can't fix, and we're not worried about it.
Were they the most active team you played so far?
Yeah,
In
yeah,
terms of
I
movements
think
and everything?
they were by far the best team we faced so far. So.
But in terms of moving around, I mean,
Oh yeah.
active
Yeah,
that way.
yeah, for sure.
And
What's his personality like on the field?
On the field?
Yeah. Or off. I mean, whatever.
Off. He's a great guy. I love him.
On.
On okay. On the yeah, I could go on for hours, but off the field. On the field though, nasty guy. How you want it. And I think especially with Juwan, the more and more he plays, the nasty is gonna come out of him. He's still kind of in his head, not in a bad way, just wanting to make sure he does everything right, and that's what you want out of a young guy like that. I think as time goes on, you'll see more and more of the true Juwan, and I think he is a hell of a player. He's even better.
when did you notice that he was starting to drop some pounds? Was there a day where you looked at him and said, "Man, you're 30 pounds lighter"?
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely this offseason. I think he was like, I don't know, 340 or 330, something like that, and then he got down to like 310, and he started to look like me. And that's when I noticed it, and he started looking good, and I was like, Juwan, what are you doing? I need to know how you're playing. You got to tell what you're doing. But yeah, I mean, he's moving really well and doing everything you could ask for out of a guy.
He's a thumper. There was a couple
Yeah.
hits you could hear from upstairs. Is that what you guys see in practice, where he's willing to really lean into a guy?
Yeah, I mean that's what you want too. Two things about Juwan is that he is aggressive, very aggressive. He's not afraid to stick his head in there, go head and hands, jack the guy up. And two, I mean, his kick set is pretty. He has a very pretty kick set, NFL type quality. But yeah, those are two really, really good qualities about Juwan.
On that chop block, should that be an illegal play?
I mean, you gotta leave that up to the NCAA to decide, I guess, or whoever decides that. But I think it's one of those things where it's like, as a player, if I was a defensive guy, I wouldn't do that to a guy. That's just me. But yeah,
So it's an unwritten rule.
yeah,
basically.
it's an unwritten rule, pretty much. It's one of those things. Yeah, I mean, because chop blocks are very crucial, and you can use them in a lot of ways, and not hurt guys by doing it. So yeah, it was one of those things where it's like you didn't have to do it, and that's to be done.
Can you do it? Sorry, go ahead.